Hi, my name is Ava-Riley Miles. I'm 17 years old and I'm living in Miami, Florida. I'm a senior in high school and I am diagnosed with chronic abdominal pain and IBS. I first started experiencing my symptoms when I was 10 years old and I was living in New York at the time and working in a show. And all of a sudden, I was having this daily stomach pain, cramps, urgency to go to the bathroom, diarrhea. But I was working and that was my priority at the time. So I kind of dealt with all of that while I continued to work in the show. And the show actually ended up closing a few months later, which turned out to be fortunate for me because I was able to move home to Miami with my family. But the daily stomach pain did not stop like I hoped it would. I entered middle school at that time, so I was entering sixth grade, and the daily stomach pain continued. All the cramps, all the pain, all the diarrhea was a constant for me. And middle school is a very transitional time when most people are making new friends and figuring themselves out. And I mean, my love is performing, and my stomach pain took all of that away from me. I was out of school about 3 times a week, probably. I was leaving home early most days. I was in constant pain, so I declined any invitations from potential friends on the weekend. So stomach pain really became my life and the only thing I could think about. And during that time, I saw so many different doctors. I tried so many different diets, ran so many tests, colonoscopies, endoscopies, MRIs, different medications, and just nothing was working. Nothing was helping. Every day it was the stomach pain and the cramps and the nausea and all of those kind of awful abdominal pain symptoms. And there was really no relief. And that continued for about 3 years until I finally met Dr. Saps. And what was different about Dr. Saps, my current GI, is that he sat down and listened to my symptoms. Our first meeting was very long, and he just wanted to hear everything about my experience. And whereas some doctors had told my parents even things like, oh, the pain is all in her head, or there's nothing I can really do for her, Dr. Saps was determined not to run any more tests, not to put me on any more crazy diets, but to listen to my symptoms and come to a conclusion. So after 3 years of pain, I was finally diagnosed with chronic abdominal pain and IBS, and I was finally put on a treatment plan that would work. And that treatment plan consisted of medication, but also hypnotherapy, which was something that I was skeptical about at first. I didn't really trust that hypnotherapy would work. But going through the experience, I can tell you that within a few weeks, I was feeling like my old self again, and I hadn't felt that good in years. And I was finally at the point where I could accept invitations and, audition for my school show again, something that I had been prevented from doing for the last 3 years. So in terms of the impact that IBS had on my life, it was an incredibly isolating experience because I didn't know anyone else going through it. And it also barred me from making friendships and making connections because I was sick all the time. I had come from performing in New York to not being able to perform at all. I had come from singing every day to taking medications that dried out my throat so that I couldn't sing. I had come from a group of friends to a new school without the opportunity to make friends because I was homesick every single day. So it was an incredibly isolating experience, and I didn't know anyone else going through it, so that just made me feel even more alone. And then you have doctors invalidating your experience almost by saying, oh, the pain is all in your head, or there's nothing I can do for you, or you're going to live with this. These are all things I heard before I met Dr. Saps, and that just contributed to the feeling of being alone. But now, obviously, I'm doing so much better, and I'm so grateful for Dr. Saps for that. And, I still have underlying IBS. I think I always will. But I know my triggers. I know, like, in times of stress, I usually feel more sick, and I also know how to handle them. I know what treatment works. I have hypnotherapy tapes that I can listen to if I'm ever in a situation. So it's really been night and day from where I was a couple years ago to where I am now. And IBS used to be always like at the forefront of my mind. My stomach pain was at the forefront of the mind. It was the only thing I could think about. And it determined what I would do in a day. And now it's something, it's always there in the back of my mind. I might have to take some medication with me when I go out, but it's not something that I have to constantly be thinking about. I can live my life, and IBS isn't determining what that means for me. And I guess what I have learned from the experience is that you can't give up hope. even when I had all these doctors telling me that this was going to be my life, that this was going to be something that I had to live with, it was something that I chose to keep fighting and to keep looking for doctors who would take me seriously and to keep looking for a diagnosis and a treatment plan. And I'm so glad I did, because I can't imagine if I hadn't kept advocating for myself and if I hadn't made my way to Dr. Saps, if I would still be in the place that I used to be. If I would still be sick, my high school experience would be incredibly different, and I wouldn't have been able to have all the amazing opportunities that I have if I was still sick every day. So I think the most important thing that I learned is that you have to stick up for yourself and you have to keep looking for a way to feel better, because your health is your priority, and without it, you can't really do anything else. And to those who are just newly diagnosed or looking for a diagnosis in the world of abdominal pain, I mean, the most important advice I can give is to find a doctor who will truly listen to you and who will take the time to get to know you, to get to know your symptoms, and who will not give up on you. IBS and abdominal pain in general can be such an individualized experience, and the same treatment isn't going to work for everyone. So it's so important to find someone who you can trust that can walk you through that treatment process, and someone who will really just listen to you and adapt with you and wait until it works. And if you're not finding that right now, keep looking, because there is going to be something that can help you, even if it just eases the pain a little bit. So I encourage everyone, just to keep advocating for yourself. And I wish everyone who is newly diagnosed all the best in getting healthy again. I'm so grateful I did, and I am so grateful I have the opportunity to help all of you. Thank you.